online customer communication, if the first thing that happens when a customer wants to make a purchase is to see what you have, which in customer experience management is called discover, right? So once they discover, your ability to get them to understand what it is that they need to the point where they are convinced to buy from you. That's the importance of online customer communication. The next thing is keeping them. So if I buy from you once, the whole point of repeat business is that you want me to buy again, right? So maintaining a fantastic or a consistent or having an online customer communication strategy basically helps you keep customers. Now, there's a third importance of OCC, if you allow me to abbreviate it that way, is that it helps you to gain market share. So imagine you're shopping. How many of us have shopped on, I'm not sure if it happens on Jumia or Konga, but how many of us have shopped on Amazon? So you know when you pick an item, it will tell you other items, customers that bought this and are interested in, or it will tell you this item goes best with, it will suggest other items to you, right? And then you went in there to buy one item, but you end up buying 2, 3, 4. And in some case, when it profiles you and what you're going for, it probably will tell you things like there's a discount on this product. So if you buy one, you get more stuff, right? Now, what that does is it increases your share of my wallet. So if I went online to your store to buy one thing for, say, 20,000 naira, because of your ability to engage me and communicate online, I might end up spending about 35, 40, 50,000 naira. That's basically what that means. Now, so we'll move on next to these are just basic, what you call online customer communication channels. So we have quite a number, but I thought to narrow it down to 5 basic ones that I'm sure everyone in the room will have some idea of, right? Now, email. Everybody knows, everybody's familiar with email. We know what that is, right? And then social media, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and all of that. And then online forum, channels. I think there's a very popular one. What's it called? Something Nairaland, right. So you have, fora like that you can latch onto, online communities that you can latch onto and engage. And I will share more insights on this as I go along briefly. And then we'll also have the live chat as a channel of online customer communication. And then you have self-serve, knowledge base. So places customers can go get information how to do stuff themselves without any assistance from you. Now, it's always important to put things in perspective by sharing some statistics, right? So the statistics I'll be sharing with you today on online customer communication pretty much covers for our country, for Nigeria, localizing the content. And then I would also share some global stats with you as well. So from a country perspective, 65% of internet users shop online. That's the market that you're playing in, or you should play in if you don't have any online presence. Now, 24% of internet users, even for those that don't buy, you expect that they will buy, right? So if you're looking at, in an African context, where Nigeria stands in terms of online consumer goods, where you can buy stuff online, we're at 89%. So these are some more stats that I thought to share. Okay, so you have full view. I have just one thing hanging. So permit me to tilt towards the side of the room, right? So we have, and these are stats from Pulse NG. So we have about 98.39 million internet users in Nigeria. It's still not close to what our population is, but it's a high number, right? Now, that's specific for Nigeria. And then from that number, 54% access the internet daily. Of that number, 12%, which is 24 million, that's from Gartner, businesses that ignore social media requests experience 15% higher churn than businesses that do. That means your customers or prospective customers will highly likely walk away by 15% if you don't respond to their requests, compared to those that do. And the last 2 years, leaving paid employment and focusing on my business full-time, I will share details of that later, I have I've patronized a bit more of Nigerian brands, right? And in doing that, when I read this stats, I 100% agreed with it. Because there are businesses where I have sent them DMs on inquiry about a product since last year till today, no response. Right? It happens. So that's what happens. Now, there's a particular case. The lady sells diffusers and room fresheners and stuff like that. And I sent her a message that, oh, I wanted to buy a certain amount of fresheners for my space. And she didn't respond to me until the next day. But then, because I had an urgent need, I walked into Iganmu that same day and I bought something off the shelf. So she comes to me the next 2 days to say, oh, sorry, I'm just responding. No, I've already gotten something already, so I've moved on. That money lost. So the second time, this was during the Christmas, I went to her, I wanted to restock. She responded immediately, sent me all the options she had, and I ended up buying things worth 27,000 from her, just within less than 3 hours. That one is just for me to put in context for you the importance of prompts, and we'll come to some tips later. For still on stats, 91%, we have 91% daily email users. So email is a priority. 44% of people who shop online, a preferred feature for them is when, while they're shopping, there's communication. You know the example I cited earlier, especially for those who have live chats. That's the stats that you should think about, or if you haven't considered it, and we'll look at what live chats do in a bit. And then 87% of consumers report that they regularly use self-service support. So the amount of money that you are spending on having somebody in your workspace or attend to your customers 24/7 can actually reduce if you know the traffic that would prefer to self-serve. And I will explain those things in a bit. Now, I'm sharing all these stats, so it pretty much feels like online customer communication is nothing short of amazing, right? But everything comes with its pros and cons. So from a cons perspective, we all know the issues with internet connectivity. Even when you send somebody money, like I haven't received the alert, there are delays with network, epileptic internet services that you have to deal with and all of that. We also have the issue of the cost of internet plans, correct? And then lack of facial contact. As Africans and as Nigerians, we are very relational people. I have clients prospects who will call me and say, and I'm like, okay, can we connect online? I could schedule a meeting via Zoom. And they'll tell me, no, come to our office. And I'm like, what's the big deal? But because we like to see and feel the person that you're doing business with, right? So the online customer communication in itself, you don't get this extra from doing that. It's time consuming. Imagine if you're somebody that sells, shoes online. Everything you post, somebody has a question, good, bad, ugly. So it's like your whole day is committed to just responding to likes and DMs and comments. It can be really time consuming. And then if you're trying to close out on a sale, on like telephone, where you can pick up the phone and have a straight conversation and you're done, if I, as the person on the other end, the buyer, the customer, I'm distracted for a few minutes, you don't know what's going on with me. I may not come back to you until the next day if you're unfortunate. So that particular sale, you can close. Now, having said that about the cons, let's look at the pros. You are available 24 hours, all days of the week. You can access this, have access to your customers have access to you from anywhere you are, right? And then it's cost effective. You don't have to have brick and mortar stores everywhere, okay? Your communication is organized, and I would share a tip along these lines. You can actually create guidelines and templates for customer communication so that it's standard, it's structured, and it's professional. It helps to improve communication quality. And then in terms of priority analysis, you can actually analyze with data because all the things that you have is online, so it's available, you have data. So if you need insights to what most customers were asking for over a period of time, you can actually go through your feeds across all of those channels and see not what you feel, not what you think, but you have emails to show. If you have 1,000 emails in a month, for example, you can go through your email thread and figure out what were the most engagements and channel your resources. If it's on social media, you've posted stuff and everybody's going, you don't have this in size 40. Oh, do you have size 40? Oh, do you have blue? You have 20 engagements, 2 bots, 16 are asking about color blue. You know where your priorities are, correct? So you make very intelligent business decisions. Now, so I would leave you with helpful tips. I mean, does it make sense sharing all these insights without giving you a few pointers on how you can improve online customer communication as a small business? The first thing is choose the right channel. I've mentioned 5 channels. Can anybody remember the 5 channels? Email, social media, live chats, online forum, self-service, exactly. Choose what is right for you. But the most important thing is not just being everywhere. Who are your customers and where are they? And I would share, I think the next slide is an example of a particular business that found the niche area where most of their customers were, and they had to create an online customer support platform there as well. Now, use customer data that you have to find out the channels. It's important I've gotten to do stuff online, and for some time I'm trying to sign up for something. I'm asked to put my social media handle. Now, when you see companies do that, or SMEs do that, it's intentional because they want to know where their crowd is, where the customer is, and that helps them to focus their energy. So if at the end of the day, all your customers are on Instagram, and then you are focused on Twitter, you're in trouble. Correct? Right, so it's important to know that. So yes, I have shared all 5, but you need to know, where are my customers? What channels do they use? You can use customer data to do that. There are online stats, like I've shared, that can give you insights into where customers are. But the most important thing is you knowing where your customers, not even knowing who your customers are. Can you describe your ideal customer? Who is he, she? What do they do? What do they like? What do they dislike? What are their habits? What are their hobbies? You need to know them. So it's called creating a customer persona. If you create a picture of the customer that you have, you can fit that customer. For example, his name is Sule. Sule likes food. Sule lives in Surulere. Sule has a job that pays him $150,000 a month. Sule is married with 4 children. Sule spends 80% of his salary on household, taking care of his household and paying his children's school fees. Would you be profiling Sule as somebody that would buy something from you of up to 100,000 naira? Exactly. Now, where would you find Sule? Knowing that this is who Sule is, because he doesn't have a lot of extra cash outside of running the home and all of that stuff, he doesn't spend so much on data. So let me ask, for people who don't spend a lot on data, what social media channels do they use? So where would you find Sule? So where is your channel? Exactly. Because that's where he is. So that's that kind of intelligence you need to gather. And another thing that is not so tricky, just ask your customer. What channels are best, where would you like us to communicate with you? Customers are always willing to speak. So this is an example of KLM Airlines. They found out that, a chunk of their customers, obviously, are on LinkedIn. So what they did was create an online customer communication strategy for LinkedIn. So you just go there and you complain. and then they take up your issue. They don't tell you to, oh, we'll send you a mail. No, right there and then is resolved, right? So, I mean, if you look at this example, a customer goes, I booked my ticket online, and the confirmation I received by email shows another seat. But I go back to the online registration page, it shows the seat I want. What information is correct? So she has duplicated information. Now, the reason why I put this up here is because I want to demonstrate the whole point. I know I had mentioned you can create structure for online communication that comes across as professional, right? Now, look at the response from, hope I can move this far. Okay. Look at the response from KLM. That's a good question. We would like to have a look at your reservation. Could you please share with us your flight number, departure date, last name as stated in your passport? Once we have this, we will be able to retrieve your booking. Would you mind also sharing with us what seat number you would like for your flights? Plural, not one. Then we will see what we can do for you. Hope to hear from you soon with an exclamation mark. Now this they've factored in all the information that they need from the customer to fix it. So just an example of how you can build a strategy around online customer communication and resolve issues on the spot. And I will share that as one of the tips in a bit. I think I'm almost done. Right, so explore the use of live chats. Live chats are a lifesaver, that's the truth. So if you predominantly sell online, you should consider this. Because if you remember I mentioned earlier that from the stats that customers, it's their preferred feature when they shop online. So that if they have questions, they can always ask whatever your live chat is called, right? And then when you're offline, it's also a lifesaver because when your customers go there and engage, it would pop up what you call FAQs, frequently asked questions. And you can trigger, is the way you can set it and create what they call chatbot conversations. So if a customer types ABC, these are the answers that will be triggered. Yeah? So that's the frequently asked questions. What are the questions customers ask about your business? The other tip is you need to collate everything and have it available. So even if you are just on Instagram, you can collate everything and have posts for different FAQs to enlighten your customers. If it's a live chat, like I said, one of the things that we do in my business is we help companies design what you call chatbot conversation scripts after understanding your product, right? So that helps to drive that engagement. Now, text can be boring. Nigerians, we don't read. I'm not a reader, so it's not beef. Like, that's how we are. I don't read a lot. But so there's all the thing around, you see people having videos, self-help videos, short messages, graphics, screenshots. There are different expressions of FAQs. So explore all of those options and then include your FAQs in your live chat scripts. Like I said, when you're offline. I think I'm almost done. Right, so guidelines are very important. If you recall the KLM airline case, you see the script, that was purely a guideline given to whoever processed it to say, this is the information that is needed when a customer complains about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things. So if you hear you're selling online, there's something we call customer query scenarios. We create customer query scenarios so that you have a deeper understanding of the problem. So in this case, the customer had made a booking and had two different information provided. So which one is correct? That's a scenario. In your business, customers may have, I'll give an example. I buy stuff online, right? And I'm told I will get it in 24 hours. I don't get it in 24 hours. I reach out on this kind of platform. That's a scenario. So how do you answer as the person on the back end, if you have scripted for the live chat, or if you are a live person actually attending to those feedback? How do you respond to that kind of thing? Because and you know what the tricky thing about online customer communication is that Everybody can see it. Your customers, and you may think they are not, but they are your prospective customers, and I will tell you why. They are prospective because they may not need your service, but someone somewhere, somehow, may need it. But because of how you communicated and they read it, it can make you top of mind for good or for bad. I'll give you an example. There's a client I was pitching to a while back. They're into hair products. And they reached out. They wanted customer service training for their frontline teams. So before we train in my company, what we try to do is we go and mystery shop. We look online, we go to your store, we make calls in just to engage, to understand the level of quality that you're giving. And we do this largely for SMEs. And somebody goes online and says, I ordered so there are 2 stores owned by one person. So I ordered something somewhere, and nobody responded to me on the other product page, right? And now that person says, now ask this customer to send a DM to the same person. After telling you that I've gone there, I've done everything, and nobody's responding to me. So things like that, we pick on it very quickly. Because seeing that alone means there's confusion in that brand. There's no synergy owned by one person. So I already have a picture, and highly likely I will not buy from that kind of company because it shows that it's not organized. I don't know if that makes sense. So that kind of stuff. So guidelines are important. Create standard communication templates, even how you greet. When someone should ask, hello, what do you even say back? Every single detail about online customer communication is key because it creates an impression that leads to sale, leads to satisfaction, leads to retention, and leads to loyalty. And that's a fact, both from a business perspective and from a buyer's perspective, right? And then language. You know, when you're email, it's a different language. Social media, a different language, but still professional. So there are certain defined professional communication buckets for different social media channels. Okay, again, you need to know what customers want, what customers expect. Very simple. Your information, whatever you're communicating online, should be accurate, and it should be adequate, should be enough. It should be prompt, very prompt, respond promptly, resolve promptly on the spot. There's no I'll get back to you, right? Be helpful, professional, personalized information. And then show you're human. You're not a machine. Even the chatbots these days go things like, hi, hello, oh, awesome, cool, because you're dealing with a human being. I'm just going to wrap up. My time is up. And then some of us just see customers, you know, with the way your stuff, recommend your business, and you just like, you know, you should spread the joy, spread that language and use that to win more businesses. So use customer communication to your advantage. Right, online data, I think I've touched on this already. Right, so that's me. I am a customer experience expert consultant. I run a company called Niche, Customer Experience Consulting Firm. What we do is we help businesses better satisfy, manage, and retain customers. Been around for banking, my longest, for 10 years, then telecoms, education, before starting my practice. So everything I've talked about today on online communication is something that we do for SMEs gladly. I think I have my team somewhere at the back with me today. Guys, can you wave? Right. Yeah, so I have 2 books out on customer experience. One of them is 10 common customer experience mistakes that SMEs make. But it's an e-book, it's free. I'll probably share my details next. But the other book, Customer Pulse Check, how to gather and use customer feedback, is a book that I wrote last year. It's available for those that want to buy. I'll recommend you should, because customer feedback is very key. And then let's keep in touch. I'm always online. I'm always talking about customer experience. I know. I'm always talking about customer experience. I'm always sharing stuff. Yeah, I'm always answering questions. So feel free to reach out anytime. Thank you.